Hello everybody, so now we're gonna see how to connect circuits in parallel using a breadboard. So we're gonna see three different configurations. Let's start with the first one. So remember that we have our rows here that connect to the power supply. We have our positive wire and our ground wire. So now let's suppose that we want to have this row carry the positive voltage. So in this case, what we do is to bring a wire from here into here, and now we have as all this row with a positive sign. So now let's suppose we want to connect two resistors. Well, first we bring one wire from here, let's say to this row here. Now this is going to be positive as well, so we connect our first resistor and we connect back to the ground. Now we want to connect our second resistor in parallel to this one. So the objective is that the second resistor has to be with the same voltage as this resistor. So in order to achieve that, we simply connect another wire from this row, which already has the same voltage as the first one here. We connect another wire, let's say here, to this row, which is now at the same voltage as this one, and we connect our second resistor and back to the ground. Here is the ground. So okay, now we need to measure current in both of these resistors. So you may have the temptation to just unplug this wire and the terminal of this resistor and then connect your multimeter in series between these two terminals. Well, that is wrong, and it is wrong because if you disconnect this wire, you are at the same time unplugging this resistor from the network, so therefore your measurement will not be right. So the option to go around this issue is to measure at the other side of the resistor. Remember that the current is the same both before and after the resistor. Comes here, the current, and then goes through a resistor and keeps flowing back to the ground. So we can open our loop here. Let's say we unplug the resistor and we unplug our ground wire, and then we put our multimeter between the resistor and the ground wire, and that will give us the measurement for the current. So if we want to measure in the other resistor, we just do the same. Unplug the terminal of the resistor, unplug the ground wire, and measure between them. Okay, so let's see the second configuration. So now suppose that we want to send our positive voltage into this row. We do that by connecting a wire in here, and now since this row is at the same potential, we can connect two resistors from here. Here is our resistor 1, here is our resistor 2, and then we connect this back to the ground, and we have another connection in parallel. Same potential here, same potential here, two resistors, the same voltage in both of them. So now it is a little bit tricky to measure current here. You may be tempted to just unplug this wire and this resistor and do the measurement between the resistor and this wire, but if you do that, then you will be unplugging this resistor from the network and your measurement will not be right. So in this case, what we can do is add an extra wire here and then unplug any of the two resistors, depending on which one you want to measure, without disconnecting this wire from your breadboard, and then you can put your multimeter between this wire and any of the two resistors you want to measure. So make sure you follow these steps when you want to measure current if you are doing this configuration. Okay, so let's see the last configuration we are going to see. So let's erase our resistors. Okay, so now we want to send the voltage from this row, which is at the same potential, to the two resistors. So we connect one here and back to ground. Here we have our first resistor. Now we connect from this row, same potential, we connect another wire, let's say here. Now this row is also at the same potential as this row, and we connect another resistor and back to ground, and here we go. Maybe it is not completely clear, but I think you can see it. So we have our two resistors here, both of them connected to the row or the node which carries a positive voltage, and both of them with the connection to ground. So if you want to measure current here, well, it is also straightforward. Just unplug this wire. If you want to measure in this resistor, unplug the terminal of the resistor and connect your multimeter between both of them, and you can do the same for the next resistor. So let's see how to do this in the actual breadboard.
Hi. So you just saw how Jesus presented to you in a lecture how we're going to set up our resistors in parallel, 3 different configurations, and now we're going to do it again on the actual system. So right here, you guys can see we're already hooked up to the positive and negative terminal on our power supply. Right here, we're connected to the breadboard, and we already connected here from the positive terminal over to this terminal right here. So, and then from here, it's going to be the exact same order as you saw in the lecture. We're hooked up over here in this same line, and then we're going to go over here, for example, right? It's really up to you. So, and then we have our resistor right here, and then you can pretty much go however you want to. Right here, we can go back to our ground over here, whatever order you choose this setup to be done in. And then we go from here, right there, same line as the resistor, to, let's say, over here, free terminal. And then we have another resistor over here. Put this one in there, for example. And then we're going to close the circuit right here, back into the ground over here. And as Jesus already told you in his lecture, if you want to measure the current of each resistor, do not unplug right here, because this one is going to be your total current that you're going to be measuring. If you unplug right here and then go into this resistor, basically in between the wire and the resistor, you're going to have to come from the other side, from the negative terminal, basically taking this wire right here, unplugging it, taking this end of this resistor here, unplugging it, and then putting your multimeter in between. Same thing with this one over here. Alright, we're gonna do the next setup. Get our mess in order over here. We're gonna again go in over here as we did before, same setup. And then what we're gonna do, well actually let me put this one over here. And then we can take one of our resistors, set it up over here. I hope you can see this clearly. Yeah, you should be able to. So, and then we go from here to here. For example, well, maybe you're gonna like it better if I do this. And then you can actually imagine it better, I think. So, yeah, and the last thing you do, pretty much, this is the most simple setup, by the way. Doesn't mean you need to do this one though. And then right here, you're done. You have a parallel connection. So the challenge for this one though is going to be, how do I measure the current right here, right? But I think we saw that in the lecture, so we should be able to figure that out on the system too. So, all right, so going to our last setup, we have our connection over here again, as before. And then we can go from here to here, for example. And then go in here, go in there. Then close our circuit over here. This wire is not good on you. Make sure you take a good wire, but let's imagine that this one stays over here. So, and then you go from the same place way back over here as you saw in the lecture also, because we're doing this in the same order. Go from here, hold on. From here, which we just made our second connection over here, right? So, and then go from here, where our resistor is, back into our ground. This one is really straightforward. Again, measuring your current, you just unplug this wire right here, take this resistor out of the terminal, put your multimeter in between, you have your current. Same thing over here. So, should be pretty straightforward and easy to do. So thank you very much, and as always, if you guys have any more questions and this was not clear enough explained, then we're going to be happy to help you in lab.